Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 3:20 on a Friday morning, the 12th to be exact of May. I think it's May. Yeah, I think. I was awakened this morning with a lesson. So I was looking or thinking back on some recent events or something. I was being shown how to look at things. So basically, when you look at the biblical story of Yeshua, or the person most people call JC or Christ, and he was learning the same lessons many of us have to go through, because we have to learn how to trust in the Most High consciously, physically, and spiritually. So, when looking at Yeshua's story, I was inspired because he understood who Judas was. He understood Judas had a position to carry out. Now, I want you to understand, in me saying that, Judas always had a choice. He could have chosen not to do what he did, and many of us consider that to be the betrayal of his friend Christ. Okay? I want y'all to try and stay with me. I'm trying to take this somewhere, and I'm hoping people understand what I'm about to say. So, in the story of Yeshua, in his story, understand me now. Each of us are writing our own story. Yeshua chose to meld his senses. I want y'all to think about this. He melded his senses, meaning he controlled his emotions. He was the master of his ship, or his temple being his body. I need y'all to try and stay with me and try to absorb this lesson that I just got. I'm sharing it. Now, I'm sharing a lesson because my perception is perceiving what my essence needs to learn in a certain situation. In Yeshua's experience or story, he was sent to this realm to do a certain thing, and that was to enlighten the souls in his influence. Okay? Now, he was learning or gleaming from the people around him. Okay? They were influences on him as well. However, he controlled how he perceived these influences or people in his surroundings or life. Okay? He controlled how much he bought into them, or how much attention he poured into them, or how much attention he pulled back from them. I want y'all to, I'm hoping you're understanding me. Not just understanding, overstanding and understanding what I'm saying. Just as communication and emotions and action and investment goes into a thing, we can pull that back as well. So if we're trying to glean, so each, I'm trying to make this thing make sense. Understand it's like 3 in the morning. So I'm trying to discern as I go. I'm trying to use wisdom and discernment to try and communicate this clearly. Each character also represented a different portion of himself. So Mary Magdalene was also a part of his energy. Peter, Paul, Simon, all the disciples were also an important part of his story. But they were also building his character. I want you to try to understand what I'm saying. This is going to require an open mind and us to think like a child, because children are innocent. They don't perceive or assume people are out to get them. They only look at the experience for what it is, and they try to learn, and they try to enter and understand that person, because that person matters to them on some level. Okay? So Yeshua understood what was going on around him when we read that passage of the Bible leading up into his crucifixion or his death. His unaliveness or whatever. People are so sensitive, so I guess you have to be cognizant of that in explaining or communication. So leading up into that point, if you understand or didn't understand, he was getting even more and more conscious of his surroundings and what was going on and what his role was. So at what we would consider the height or the melodramatic or the dramatic close, of his story, he was very aware of what was going on. And when you read that passage of the Bible, his emotions were at a flux. So his prayers to the Father, okay, symbology, his prayers to the Most High, the creator of all. At this time, it is said that he is a God of the living. So at this time, Yeshua is still living. So he's telling this being or this creator of all things, this prime creator, I understand my plight. I mean, I know why I'm here. I don't like the fact that I have to give my life for this situation. I would like to live. However, if this is your will or if this is a part of my contract, may the contract be carried out or your will be done. You understand? However, if you can pass this cup, if this cup of pain can pass me, please allow it to pass me. I'm aware of what's going on and I know my purpose. However, if I'm wrong about my purpose, please allow this pain to pass me. Okay? He understood his friend. I want y'all to hear that. I want you to kind of take it in. I want you to kind of feel it. I want you to put yourself in Yeshua's shoes. His friends, his friend that he walked with, he talked with, he had love in his heart for. People don't hang around people they don't love, okay? He had love in his heart for. His friend hated him. Hated him. And not because of something he did to him or he perceived that he did to him, but because of his nature. Okay? I want you to understand that. He had animosity. Judas had animosity toward Yeshua for his nature, his natural way of being. Let that sink in. Please let that sink in. Because those who we call the chosen ones, or we call whatever you call yourself, light workers, whatever, you know what I mean? The light workers meaning the positive forces of the nature. Okay, the positive forces of nature, those who work on behalf of the universe. Okay, because whether we want to believe it or not, there is a method to the madness that is going on. Okay, there are those that are here to balance out the tipping, if you will, of the universe. So they give themselves over and they finally realize, I can't fight against the will, or I can't prove what should already be understood. So the point is not to prove. The point is to seek to be balance or counterbalance. Do you understand? We all play a part in this universal story. It's our perception and our willingness to take a deep breath and say, I trust the universe. I trust the Most High. And I trust nature. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to be a part of the battle per se. But I choose to believe in the things that I know to be true. And I choose to balance not only my perception within me, my emotions within me, my thoughts, those things that can run away sometimes and cause our emotions to get out of whack or to get off center. Okay? So he chose to control or to choose to go with the flow of the universe, to balance with the universe, to balance with the Most High, to balance with nature, because those were the only unchanging things that he could see in that point. Okay? Now, it gets to the point where he's praying just before he's going to be taken. And he already understands and understands that this will happen. He, in fact, gets visitation from prophets before him to give him a type of solace to be able to carry out this very prestigious and auspicious event in time. Okay? He had foresight. He understood exactly what was going to happen. He had to weigh and balance that inside himself. Okay? And he was having a rough time with that. Such a rough time that he had to be sent, passed on prophets that went through the same thing that he was about to go through. Okay? In order to get some semblance in his spirit, but something happened during these visitations. Okay? He understood, or he had epiphanies that were so important. I want y'all to hear me, that they changed his countenance or his physiological being. I want y'all to hear me. They changed him. Those epiphanies changed him from the inside out. He wasn't the only one. The other prophets had these epiphanies too, like Timothy. Now, within themselves, they reached a knowing or an understanding of their situations. So they were being taught during these episodes of agitation or aggravation. So think of them as being a pressure was being applied to them. Aggravation was being applied to them. They had to choose how to act. And in that choice of choosing how to act, it either brought solace or peace to their situation, or discomfort or dis-ease, if you will. I hope y'all hear and understand what I'm saying. So in that moment, it said that in the scripture, it says that their countenance changed. So their being changed from the inside out. There was a chemical reaction in their physical being, in their conscious being, and in their spiritual being. I want y'all to understand that, overstand that, and understand that. There are important elements to glean from that, to take from that, to perceive of. Okay? Christ could have been angry and said, Judas was just wrong. He misinterpreted my feelings, my emotions, what I intended. He didn't do that. He accepted it. He accepted Judas for who Judas was. He understood that certain motions had been put in place. And his pleading for his case was null and void. Why? The wheels have been set in motion. I understand what this is for. I understand, God, I understand what is about to happen. I understand why I am here, but I am asking you that if it be your will, the omnipotent one, the one that is said to be the creator of all things in this universe, the one who has the power to change these things, should it wish to change these things. You understand? I'm asking you, if you can, or if you will, or if you could, or if you want, please change it. If not, give me the strength to walk this walk of my journey with strength and integrity. So he was aware of the pain that could be inflicted on his person. But in that moment, he decided to give it all up and say, not my will, but your will be done. So there's so many times, my brothers and sisters, my fellow travelers, okay, that we have to give up our situations, even though we see clearly what is happening, because we're not called enlightened because we don't know what is going on. We don't know the treacherous deceit that we experience from the people around us in our story. We but have to choose how we will act, choose what we will have faith in, choose to either trust in the gun, which is God, universe, and nature, trust in that frequencies, those frequencies, those are the true frequencies that never change. Only the people around us and ourselves change. Do you understand? In that moment, we can choose consciously, spiritually, and physically to say, I vibrate at the frequency of the Most High. I vibrate at the frequency of the universe. I vibrate at the frequency of nature. And once we say that, we let it go. This is when the quickening happens. This is when our authentic self takes over. This is when the calm or the arch or the arc happens. When the arc happens, it's a metaphysical revelation to God, the universe, and nature of who we are. And no one outside of you can control that. Only you control that. Love, peace, light, and protection be unto you. Namaste.